T-Dog, J-Boy, me and Lugs. Our pride and joy is pumping our mugs. Be careful, kids, it could get rough. We're flipping our lids on sports and other stuff.
Coming to you from the Howard Cosell Memorial Stadium, this is Sport Weasel Central, and I'm Lugs.
I'm J-Boy.
And I'm T-Dog.
NCAA Selection Sunday is creeping up on us. Who's in, who's out, we'll break it down. And we thought the NFL season was over. Nope, there's lots of stuff happening. So let's start with the NFL. Drew Brees has been flexing that throwing arm. So we hear, we have footage. Is he coming back? The Seahawks aren't entertaining offers, but are taking phone calls and making phone calls about Russell. What's going on there? And Kyler, say hello to JJ. JJ, say hello to Kyler. Yes, Watt is now a Arizona Cardinal. So welcome into the podcast booth, everybody. He's the Hall of Famer Lugs. Lugs, get us started with your hot take. I hate that phrase, but take it away.
Well, the hot take would still be the drama with the quarterbacks. I think there's going to be next season 18 new quarterbacks, possibly 16, almost certainly 18, possibly. So you look at say Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson. They're taking a page out of the NBA. You know, the Kevin Durant, James Harden playbook. They're just forcing their way out. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I think they now, I've said before, I didn't think Deshaun Watson would leave Houston, but I think now maybe he may have to. It may just be time, and it would be good if he could go to the Jets and Darnold could go to Jacksonville and be a backup to Trevor Lawrence. I don't know. It's just a crazy, crazy year.
Yeah, I see. I know they're both trying to get out. I don't view the Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson thing the same. If you look at Deshaun Watson's situation, Jack Easterby, who was essentially just a pastor from the Patriots when he initially got involved in the NFL, has somehow become the grand poobah for the Texans. And you look at how they've decimated their roster. I mean, they traded DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller, probably their best wide receiver if he even comes back. He has injury problems. He's suspended for I believe, the beginning probably of even next year for a few games. J.J. Watt asked for his release and got out of there. So, I mean, it's a complete tire fire, and you can even tell, I think they're not going to be able to grab any players. That the reason they got Culley as a head coach is no decent candidate wanted to go there. So I understand why Deshaun wants to leave. It's radioactive. Russell's obviously more personal, I think mainly just with the coaching staff, where they've had a lot of success with him. I'm not going to say they will have a lot of success without him, depending on who they get at quarterback, but I just see it as he wants to throw the ball more. They want to stay, ground and pound for the most part, go back to Marshawn Lynch beast mode style. So I feel for Deshaun Watson, and even though I like Russell Wilson, I think his is more murky.
And 70-year-old Pete Carroll, he's not playing, is he? He says, I don't need to listen to you. I'm 70 years old.
So
yeah, but then he'll end up like the hoodie in New England without a quarterback. I mean,
well, that's why Peter King came out and said today, the Bears are supposedly very active in it, but that's a pipe dream because kind of like what Lugs is hinting at, even if they traded away all this stuff, it could put them over the cap if they were to put in a Khalil Mack. I don't know why they'd want to do that, or Russell would want to come to the Bears if they're giving away Khalil, but still it would kill Seahawks with the cap issue. And also with where the Bears are drafting, who are you going to get? Mac Jones? I mean, I don't think they want to switch to Mac Jones or whatever.
That's going back to Trubisky, sort of.
I mean, he might be. Yeah, you're right. But what about the Brees thing?
Yeah, what do you think? Is he coming back? Gonna sling that pigskin one more year?
I think the Saints probably would want him back just to mentor whoever it is they're going to get. I don't think it'll be Jameis Winston. I think they'll trade Winston. I think this new salary cap is going to have teams doing things that they probably in another situation wouldn't do. So we're going to see some oddities. I mean, you are already seeing them get rid of like players like Golden Tate's been X'd, and he's been around a long time, and I can understand he would be making money, and that would take out. So you're seeing that around all the teams in the league.
Well, they can't trade Winston because he's a free agent. They only signed him a 1-year deal.
Okay.
But early in February, he reduced his salary to $1.75 million. So he took essentially $24 million off the cap for him. So that was nice. But
it's a nice gift, yeah.
I'm not saying – I think it'll be a hard issue for them because if you remember back to 2017 in that draft, they wanted Patrick Mahomes. So to say they've wanted Breeze for a long time, they haven't. They wanted to move on because they've seen the end. He's at the end of the road. He's missed at least 9 games the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Because Teddy Bridgewater played 5 and Taysom Hill.
Yep.
And so I just feel like, and also even when you look at when he's supposed to matter the most, where he's supposed to be a difference maker. 2019 against the Vikings, he threw for 208 yards, a touchdown, an INT, and a lost fumble. And then last year against the Bucs, he threw for 134 yards, a touchdown, and 3 INTs.
So is he a good-looking backup?
No, I don't think his ego would take that. I just don't think he would want it. Wherever he went, he would want to play.
I mean, why not be a backup there? Like,
and if you look at the openings, because obviously there's at least 4 teams that are going to draft a quarterback in this draft who are going to have starters. And obviously we've seen Stafford go to the Rams, and Goff will be the starter for the Lions. But if you look at, there's only 6 teams, and I'll ask you all, who do you think makes the most sense? Carolina, the Bears, Denver, Houston, New England, and the Washington football team.
I'll go Carolina. Carolina for the block, Alex. Yes.
You mean for Breeze?
Yeah. Who makes the most sense for Breeze?
For Breeze, not Febreze. That's something different.
Yeah. I don't know. Those aren't real good choices for a man whose 2 exits passed where he should have gotten off the highway.
Well, the unfortunate thing is all those other teams that I didn't name either have a guy or are drafting a guy.
We got a guy.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's going to be interesting to see who lines up in the first week of the NFL season this fall. That will be an interesting moment.
Yeah.
So, I'll just say this quickly about the Bucs and Brady. Brady had enough sense to see a team where he could make a difference, but all had lots of pieces. And now if they get what's his name, Obi from Cleveland, he'll have another receiver. So
Odell.
Yeah.
Beckham Jr. OBJ.
Obi. Yeah.
Where does this rumor come from? They're going to get Odell?
It's an exclusive on the Sport Weasels.
How are they going to fit him under the cap?
I don't know what we're talking about now.
So, I mean, it's just crazy. It really is. I would be interested in seeing where Sam Darnold would go. To me, he is the sort of the class of the 3-year quarterback at this point who's still available. So I would like to see him. I'd like to see him get a shot somewhere because, man, he took a beating in New York. The only person who's taken more of a beating would be Trubisky in Chicago. So I'd like to see Darnold get a shot somewhere.
Yeah.
And I don't think Tua will be there in Miami. I don't think he's the guy. So they've got to look ahead. And another thing about looking ahead, what was Pittsburgh thinking? They should have been drafting a quarterback 3 years ago to have somebody. I mean, now they're stuck with Ben. This year would have been the year to draft a quarterback from college, because next year there's no real star that's going to be on the board, doesn't look like. So anyway.
I was going to say, let me say 2 words for you. Chase Daniel. I just read something today where backup quarterbacks are going to make a fortune because there aren't that many who are any good or can be average even. That guy's going to sit on the bench, carry the clipboard, make some cash. He'll be Ben's boy. Maybe.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
There are all kinds of possibilities, that's for sure. So.
Speaking of someone who took a lot of money to go to a place and not matter, what do you all think about J.J. Watt going to Arizona?
I was just going to bring that up.
Well, I mean, he'll at least be paired with, is it Chandler Jones?
Chandler Jones, yeah.
So, I mean, it'll take a little pressure off of JJ having to be the guy. Mm-hmm. But see, I like I said, I've said before, I think they should move JJ inside to defensive tackle and take that, so he doesn't have to do that beating of going through 2 and 3 people to get to the quarterback. And he'll have himself a good season, I would say. I don't think it makes them a contender, but it improves their defense.
He's been injured a lot, though, man. I mean, over the past couple of years, a lot of injuries on that young man. He's 32, got a lot of hard miles on him.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, and he's had to go through at least the left tackle and probably the halfback on every play. So he's taking shots, no doubt about it. Yeah.
And look, even though I'm kind of joking on them a little bit, I mean, I still do think it's odd. I mean, they're not a bad team. They barely missed the playoffs in the new 7 seed, and they have talent, like Alug said, like Chandler Jones, Buda Baker, Isaiah Simmons, and then Kyler and DeAndre Hopkins on the offensive side.
Yeah.
But you look at that division, I think they're the least talented division when you combine coaching and personnel of the other 3 teams. Because even if Russell Wilson gets traded, but I don't think he's getting traded. And then you look at where he could have gone to the Bills, where he could have been essentially the Stephon Diggs of their defense, that missing piece to put him over the top. Or the Packers, where maybe he doesn't make as much money from his contract,
right? But
they play more national games than Arizona Cardinals will.
Oh, yeah.
And also the marketing, he'd be on those State Farm commercials with Aaron Rodgers.
With Jake. What do you mean? Because talking Jake here. Come on.
Well, that's the thing. Jake from State Farm to be bigger than J.J. Watt, that'd be the most fascinating thing, to see how much he would yoke up where he would actually be bigger. That's my favorite underlying thing from those State Farm commercials, how he's more rocked up than all these athletes. But anyway, and then also is Wisconsin, where he's already beloved, so he would get to retire a legend.
Cap issues, though. Didn't they have cap issues in Green Bay? Wasn't that the problem? Maybe.
I mean, you can always work around, and he had to give up money. I mean, he got $23 million guaranteed. He wasn't getting that from the Packers, but like I said, he'd make it up through commercials and the games, I think. So,
see, to me, it's simpler.
I'm with
you.
He
wanted to go someplace where it was warm. He doesn't want to go.
There's some truth to that.
That's probably true. I mean, you're probably right.
But you have to admit, the whole NFC West, we don't see a lot of those games here on the Eastern time zone. And we don't really care about them. You're right. Green Bay, you're going to get national stage. They're in the right part of the country, population base, huge fan base. Arizona Cardinals.
We joke about it, but those State Farm commercials with Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes, I mean, those put them in places where even non-football fans recognize them.
Yep.
And so there's nobody in Arizona. Maybe JJ now would be the only person nationally that would be recognized. So, I mean, I think it was a good move for both of them, actually. So,
yeah. All right. You want to talk a little NCAA tournament?
You know, many people, not Hoosier fans, but IU, NCAA, those are mutually exclusive at this point, unless IU just rips through the Big Ten.